Alright, so we get started with sketching. So when you're using a program, it is like for the first time, it's a little weird. Um, Having that spatial awareness, just knowing where to draw in space, as opposed to just a sheet of paper. Um, it's a little weird at first, but you'll get used to it the more you use it. Uh, I've been drawing on paper for years, and when I first got into this program, it took me about, I'll say, about 10 uses for me to really get the hang of it. We're talking on average 20 to 45 minutes a session, and I start getting the hang of it. See, I'm able to conjure up some lines fairly quickly. So, what I'm going to do, we're going to get started with the sketching portion. Uh, you press on your left controller, press the blue menu button. It's going to come up with the settings, right? You want to make sure your mirror is on. You can choose your mirror style. Fixed is you can go beyond a mirror plane and, but it'll still mirror on the other side. With this one, it's auto scale. So however you draw the mirror, it's going to scale to wherever you're drawing, your sketch lines and so it's up to you. It's a matter of preference. I'm going to turn it off because it's a little redundant. I know that the mirror is on because it's highlighted. So we'll get started with sketching out side view. Now, uh, when I work in 3D, typically I have a side view, top view, front, rear, and a couple of drawings like this where I'm showing like the front 3/4, rear 3/4. With something like this, since it's a speed form, we can just rough everything in. We don't need uh, plan views. We could just rough everything in, just sketch it all out. Especially since we have our chassis here, we can just sketch it all out. Looking at the wheelbase, this will qualify for, say, four-door sedan proportions. So that's what we're going to do. All right, we'll get started. And the wheels are only here for scale and proportion sakes. So, let's see. Since it's a speed form, the actual wheels will not be included into um, the design itself. So let's go to our layers and make sure that we're on a wireframe, which we are. We're on a wireframe. The wireframe is going to help us set up our sub D when we start throwing in the sheet metal. So, moment. And all I'm doing, I'm just sketching with my trigger finger on the right controller, my index finger. I'm using that. You see a highlight. I'm sketching in our design space. And then I'm using my middle finger on its trigger. You see it's highlighted. Select the minus sign. And minus sign only pops up when you highlight an entity, so you can delete them. And we'll keep going. I'm going to sketch this in according to the drawings I have up here. And just a reminder, these are the drawings that I did in Sketchbook Pro. So I'm just throwing some lines in. Something like that. We know, looking at the design, that the windshield is going to sit behind the front wheels. So we're going to set that up. Let's see. And as far as drawing to perfection, you don't have to necessarily do it because I'll show you. There's a way to straighten up your lines and your arcs and everything after drawing everything out. So this, like I said, is just getting some things lined up. Let's see. Okay, we know that is here. Okay, I'm gonna sketch everything out first, and then we'll be able to mess with the proportions with everything later. Be able to tighten everything up. Something like that. Mm, all right. It's just a placeholder for the grill. Okay. This is the belt line. And then, let's see. This will be a windshield. Like I said, I'm just roughing everything in because we'll be able to straighten this out, make it look good eventually. Okay. All right. We got the greenhouse. Oh, let's throw in this light catcher down here. It's a light catcher. Gonna throw that in. Okay. All right. I think for the most part, we're good to go. It's a pretty basic design. It's nothing crazy. As I've mentioned, the design is based on a Mercedes. It's 2019 Mercedes CLS. So it's a four-door luxury sedan. Uh, Something you would compare it to a S class was a four-door as opposed. Well, I'm sorry, it's a like a four-door. Uh, how'd you say? Four-door sport, sport back, type of deal. That's why it has like the backlight kind of flows into the spoiler here. So, the Audi A7 has the same thing going on for it as well. Some other notable sports sedans, large sports sedans. Let's see. So the way you the, okay, so it's time to fix up these lines because, like I said, it's just roughing everything in for now. And it's a speed form, so it doesn't have to be super detailed. What you want to do with your middle finger is you see how this little spear, you can change the spear too. Like if you hold down the trigger with your middle finger and click left and right, you'll be able to change it to a square or a cube or a spear. We're gonna do a cube. I do prefer a cube. Um, so without pressing anything, hover your right controller over different line segments so you can see it highlight red. That's what you want. Um, what you want to do is highlight the segment you want to tighten up or change, and then you see when you highlight it and you hold down your trigger, select on the left controller. Looks like line segments and vertices. If you select that, it's going to allow you to manipulate the line segments. You can add in vertices if you want. or you can, take them out. So it's up to you. You could take them out, add them back in like that. What you want to do is make sure they're spread out evenly like that. Okay. So we're going to do this bottom line because this is going to set us up for the front end. And you just look to see what's going on up here and do accordingly. Now you can manipulate each point or vertices in specific axis too. You can free move it like this, or you can move it. You can manipulate it in a specific axis. Um, in this case, we're going to manipulate. So the way to do it, you want to line up your controllers like this, right? One on top of the other one in a direction you want to manipulate it. Uh, so we're going to move this left to right like that along center line. Okay. We're going to do the same thing here. Okay. And press the little check, and then you want to do the same thing here. You see a little check mark after you get done manipulating your lines, then you can hit the check mark on a controller. It'll lock it in. You want to do the same thing here. Okay. All right, we're going to move this grill. We're going to do the same thing. Okay. All right, and then we're going to go to the front view, do the same thing. I'll fix this up a bit. Go move that out. Give it some character. It's a little boring. Okay, we're going to do the same thing here. The wireframe is going to allow us to lay the sheet metal where we want. So that's why we're doing a wireframe right now. There we go. Okay, not bad. Okay. All right, not bad, not bad. We'll make some adjustments here. The cool thing about working in with a mirror plane right at center line, you can look at how the lines behave on the other side of the mirror, and that give you uh, some clue as to how everything is going to line up when you start laying down the sheet metal for the vehicle. You see on the other side how it looks, and you see where everything falls into place. And then same thing here. Like that. Give it some crown. There we go. Want to make sure it's doing that. Yeah, okay. All right. Same thing here. All I'm doing, oh, so here's another trick. Because you want, when you're doing a drawing like this, I mean, you got options, but let's say, let me go ahead and click out of this. We're going to go into our menu, and we're going to go into the settings. I keep the vertical lock on because if you don't, then you'll be able to do like this. With the left trigger, with the middle finger trigger on your left controller. This is cool and all, but honestly, for what we're doing, we're just doing a simple speed form. I like to keep it in vertical lock, so we don't have to worry about the model just being all over the place. So when I go to press this trigger, wherever I move, I could just do it effortlessly in its design space. I'd rather just keep it like that. That's how I design. When you start using the program, um, then more often you can, you figure out what's best for you. So we're gonna go back here, start manipulating some lines. I'm moving the belt line out because realistically, the belt line is not that close to center line. You still need room for occupants, even though this is a speed form. You want this to still look like a vehicle because that's what it is. This is based on a luxury sedan, so you want the proportions to make sense. And then you go into your side view and do the same thing. You try to space everything out evenly. So you can understand why I'm doing, designing like this. Yeah, it just makes sense. And it helps keep things simple too. All right, here we go. Not bad. All right, then we're going to manipulate this line segment here. Let's see. Okay. I'm going to do this in one. Let's see. Okay. So right now we're working on a greenhouse. Now, once you know some of the principles when it comes to car design, like let's say, for example, with the greenhouse, if you're looking at it from the top view, you know that you'll be able to see a bit of the side windows, right? That's the towable home. You'll be able to see some of the side from the top view. Uh, so naturally, let's see. We're gonna give it some more oomph to it. Okay, it's a little drastic, so do it like that. Go. Okay. I'll straighten this out a little bit. It's not bad. Like I said, it's just to get the point across. Uh, let's see. So we're gonna fix this up here. Kind of rake it back a little bit. Okay. All right. And then this is going to be the windshield. Okay. That's not bad. Spread this out a little bit. Okay. It's going to have a little bit of crown in it. That's what we want. There we go. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is start connecting points. So we have the snap function. All I did was, as I showed earlier, highlighted a segment and select edit. And then it brings up this menu here. And for the snap, we're going to snap to other points. So you see when you start highlighting your segments, you'll be able to snap. So you see how I was able to snap to this segment here. And then I should be able to do the same thing here. There you go. Okay. Now I'm going to turn it off and we'll be able to line everything else up accordingly to our snap points. So we can start straightening up our lines now. Okay. All right. We're good to go. Oh, let's straighten this up. This needs a lot of work back here. So we're going to pull this out. We're going to even this up a bit. We want to spread out our CVs or our vertices. Let's see. Like, go. Right about there. Okay. Mm. It's also reason why I'm such a fan of working in mirror mode, because you don't have to balance everything over manually. It does it for you. There we go. All right, not bad. Then we're going to do the same thing to this line segment here. There we go. We're going to turn off the snap. We don't really need it. Okay. All right, so it looks like we have this worked out for the most part. Let's see. I'll lower it. And you can see where when I go to manipulate the line segments, if I'm holding my controllers like this and I go to select the vertices, you can see it highlight that it's going to move in that direction. in this case, up and down. That's going to help keep everything straight for line manipulation. You see him looking at it from this view. So just checking everything out. It's a pretty simple design. It's nothing crazy. And then, okay, good. Here, let's straighten up this line. I'm not a fan. Okay. Yeah, it's all wiggly right here. Go. All right. Now there's a crease in the hood here. We want that to be there too. So I'm gonna just go ahead and draw it in right quick. Okay. I'm gonna manipulate it. Try to spread the points out a bit. Okay. And then now this, if you look at this design, the way I did it, this crease falls below this line here to where it goes into the A pillar. So what we want to do, go into our side view and make sure that it falls below just a bit, just enough. There we go. Because see, when we go to lay out our sheet metal, we want it to demonstrate just that it's kind of falling below this surface here. Okay. Same thing. Make it kind of tighten it up a bit. There we go. Not bad, not bad. Yep. It's not perfect, but you get the point. Okay. Very good. All right. So we got that worked out. Oh, let's do this too. All right. We want to lock. We want to snap to our points. There we go. Oh, yep, that looks about right. Yeah, yeah, that looks good for the most part. Yep. All right, it's good to go. Okay, let's see. This area is a little tricky, but we're going to resolve it and um, fairly soon. So let's get these lines straightened out too, so everything is nice and neat. Because it doesn't have to be perfect, because we're just, here, we're going to delete that line. There we go. All the work is going to come with the sheet metal when we start, when we throw in our theoretical intersections and all that. Um, yeah. And make sure it's straight. There we go. Okay. Now we're going to flatten this out. Okay. Not bad. I think this will work. Yeah, that'll work. And then this will be our light catcher. Now, we don't want the light catcher to be too far into the body. because although this is a speed form, like I said, previously, it's still a car. At the end of the day, we want this to be a bit realistic, where you have, occupants sitting inside and everything, and because of that, the light catcher can't go too far into the sheet metal, because you still have to account for, occupant seating and things like that. Depending on how far in board the occupants are, you can get away with having to sheet metal, do some crazy stuff. But generally, you want to keep that in mind. There are people going to be sitting inside, so shit. With that being said, we're going to move the belt line out a bit too. We'll move that out a little bit. Uh, let's see. According to this, so this will be the wheel where the wheel flat is, or it will be where it is actually, and then you have this transition goes up and then it kind of goes over. So yeah, it's a bit. Let me see. We're going back this out a bit. There we go. So I'm just bringing out the greenhouse a bit here. Okay, then we're going to do the same thing here. Okay, not bad. Tighten this up a little bit. There we go. Okay. All right. I think it's good to go. I think it's ready for sheet metal. We can always go back and make our changes and stuff. Oh, let's do our wool flats because technically with this speed form, there aren't going to be any wheels, so we can cover this up and something like that, like that. We're going to snap. There we go. I think that'll work. Same thing. All right. We're going to do the same thing back here. I'm going to try doing one segment. There we go. I'm just using the snap tool. This is the point snap to other objects and splines. So that's all I'm doing here. And I'm using my controller, the middle finger trigger, to snap these points onto this tire here. Here we go. All right. Think we're good to go. It's pretty much what we want. Okay. Not bad. I think we can make this grill a little bit bigger. So in order to do that, let's turn off the snap. I'm gonna move some of these lines out a bit. Probably like there. And then I'm gonna manipulate this. Kind of go out a bit. Here. All right, so to increase or decrease or scale up or scale down the vehicle itself, you just hold this trigger. You see it highlighted. You hold this trigger, pull apart, push together. That's all you do. Scale up like that. So you get a sense of how big this car is. That and let's see. You can see things a little bit better too. Okay, good. We want to stretch this one out here. All right, not bad. There we go. Okay, that's what we want. Then we're going to move this in. This that crease in the hood that falls below the belt line. It's a simple aesthetic that's added to the hood or the bonnet, depending on where you are. Adds a little bit of character to the hood, and you'll see what I mean once we start laying the sheet metal down. Okay, all right, that's pretty good. All right, that's what we want. Oh, let me tighten this up a little bit down here too. Go. Then we want to tighten this up. All right, I think we're good to go. Yep. All right. So we can start laying down some sheet metal. This is the wireframe for our vehicle. Yeah. All right. Yep. I think we're good to go. Yep. Okay. Very good. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to eliminate the chassis, the prefab chassis. We're just going to uh, make the layer invisible. There it is. All right, so now we just have a wireframe that is visible and we're able to manipulate. So in this next part, we're going to start laying down the sheet metal, and I'm going to show you all how to do that. Here, let's take some pictures. So press the blue menu button on your left controller. You go up to the save and export. And of course, you want to save it, but there's an option to take screenshots. You'll see a little camera pop up. But I'm going to save this first. Okay. I'm saving it to my landing pad so I'll be able to access it from wherever. Like I can see, then I'm gonna save it to device. We'll just say yes. Okay, I'm gonna switch it back to landing pad. Now let's go ahead and take some screenshots. So we have here the drawing. See my drawings in the background and a wireframe. So you just select the little camera and it's going to take the shot. There it is. And then we'll do the same thing here. Like that. All right, we're good to go. Now, looking at the proportions, what I'm going to do, I'm going to stretch out this rear end a little bit because it doesn't quite look like this. So I'm going to stretch this out just a little bit. We're going to take it to the rear. Do the same thing down here. All right, I think we're good. All right, so next part, we're going to lay down some sheet metal.